Welcome to the weekly Ein Yaakov class. For today is a special Yom Tov, a special day. We're celebrating now the 19th of Kislev. Yutes Kislev, that is the day of liberation of the first Chabad Rabbi, Rabbi Zalman, known as the Baal HaTanya. And that's why we're having this class today. And we're going to be finishing, we're looking to see him now on the Masechtas Brachos, the first tractate of the Talmud. And afterwards, we're going to hopefully have a minyan for Ma'ariv, and then we're going to have a farbrengen in honor of Yutes Kislev. We also have fleishiks. We have wings on the grill right now.
Oh, really?
And Meir Shlomo has been taken off soon. We have some schnitzel, and we also have some snacks. So it's going to be a special farbrengen. Say l'chaim. We take good resolutions in merit in the honor of today's special day. Let us begin. We left off last week speaking about the not pushing the hour. If someone is not yet the correct time for a person's mazel to shine, someone goes ahead and is going to force it upon himself, even though it's not meant to be, so it could have devastating effects. If you let time take its toll and you let it play out in the way God wants it to play out, then the person will be more successful. And we move now on to another saying of Rabbi Avin Halevi. This is a famous verse from Psalms 20. We say this every time we are of a danger or we want to pray for someone to be sick. So one of the most famous chapters we say in Tehillim is number 20 of Lam Natseach, where we're asking for God's grace. One of the verses over there we say, Yancha Hashem b'yom tzara, Yisagevcha Hashem Elekei Yaakov.
Yaakov went through challenges. So
we're asking Hashem to answer us on the day of tzara, day of anguish, or something not good happening. Tzuris. Yisagevcha Hashem Elekei Yaakov. We're asking the God of Yaakov to be. You won't be able to have meat today.
If you drink that, you can't have meat.
I rinse mine out.
Okay, so the God we're beseeching the God of Jacob, and we're actually this week's Torah portion is all about Jacob. So the interesting question over here is, why do we mention specifically the God of Jacob? What happened to Abraham and Isaac? They were also our forefathers. We could have said Abraham and Isaac there, all three names if we wanted, or we could have just said, like many times, Aviseinu, our forefathers, just include them all with the name Lekei Aviseinu, the God of our forefathers. Why are we picking over here and specifically choosing, by the time of Tzaris, do we choose the God of Jacob? And he answers the question, and he says, Lekei Yaakov Lekei Avram Yitzchak Mikan Lebal HaKoireh Sheyachniz Ba'aveh Shel Koirah. We have a lesson from here. When a person has a beam to carry, he can't carry by himself, so he's going to ask some people, could you come help me out? Who's going to get the heaviest part of the beam? If you have the top part of the beam is heavier and the lighter part is, the bottom part is lighter, or the other way around. The person that is the owner of the beam, he's going to take the heavier part for himself. And then the lighter part of the beam, will go for those that are helping him. You're not going to ask somebody to help you and then give him. Let's say you have, for example, you're carrying 20 shopping bags. You can't carry so many bags. Hey, little kid, can you come here and help me? And you give him 18 of the bags. You take 2 for yourself. Someone's going to help you. He'll help you. He'll do what you can't do, but you can't give him the full amount. So if you have a beam, the owner of the beam carries most of it. Now, who from the forefathers had the most of the work? Who had the most children? Who produced most of Israel? That's Jacob. Abraham had 1 son, or 2, Ishmael, Isaac. Yitzchak had 2 children.
Yeah, but
and then Yaakov comes along with 12.
But Yaakov had 4 wives.
So okay, we're not going through the reasons. I'm just saying the facts. So
Yaakov
Yaakov has the most children, so he has most of the responsibility, if you want to use that word, of praying for his descendants, or beseeching God's mercy for his descendants. Where does it lay on the most? Who has the biggest responsibility to pray for us? Yaakov. Right, Yaakov?
Yes.
Yeah, so says Yaakov. So Yaakov has the most responsibility, and that's why when we are beseeching God, we say Lekei Yaakov. Let's move on to the next saying of Rabbi Avin. Rabbi Avin Halevi said another thing. Kol hanena miseuda shel tamid chacham shari b'seicha. Anyone that has pleasure in a festive meal, like we're going to have soon, or we're starting already, that a tamid chacham is inside, is a scholar is by the meal, you are going to merit as if you are taking in, you are taking pleasure, miziv shchina, from the rays of the shchina. The shchina is God's glory. Where do we see this from? Shenemar, like it says in a verse, and we actually had this verse last week or 2 weeks ago, where it says the verse that Aaron, Moshe's brother, the Chol Ziknei Yisrael, and all the elders of the Jewish people, came lechol lechem, to eat bread, to have a meal. Im chaysen Moshe, with Moshe's father-in-law, Yisro. Remember we had that a few weeks ago? Yisro came to visit Moshe in the desert, and they made a feast in his honor. And we said, was it last week, I think? And if Yisro was doing it really for his own honor, and he provided a whole meal for Moshe, and he gets all that credit, because his descendants later on were saved, how much more so if you invite a scholar to your house, how much more so you will benefit from it. Right? That's what we had last week. So now that same verse says that Aaron and the elders came to eat bread with the father-in-law of Moshe, Lifnei ha'elokim. And the verse says that where were they eating? Lifnei ha'elokim, in front of God. Those two words, Lifnei ha'elokim, are added into the verse to teach us something. Because what does it mean they're eating in front of God? This was for Moshe. Moshe was the one leading the meal. Moshe was the main participant. Moshe was their leader. This was a meal, it should have said in front of Moshe. Now, the truth is, we said last week, if you remember, Moshe was actually serving his father-in-law by that meal. So he wasn't sitting down. He was serving. But the facts still remain that this was a meal for the honor of Moshe or his father-in-law. Why is it saying Lifnei Elokim, that they had the meal in front of God? And we learn now from here that since this was a meal to honor Moshe, Moshe is a tremendous Talmudic scholar, Talmud Chacham, and if you benefit from a meal from a scholar, you merit and it's counted as if you're Lifnei Elokim. It's counted as if you are enjoying God's Shechina, God's glory. So we see it from the verse. It says Lifnei Elokim teaches us this lesson that scholars are very powerful, basically. Now, on the subject of scholars, we're going to stay on that subject of Talmidei Chachamim scholars. We're going to stay on that subject all the way till the end of the tractate. V'amar Rabbi Avin Halevi, Rabbi Avin Halevi said another statement. Hanifter mechavere. Someone has a friend, and they were just having a good time, and now his friend is going to go back. You got to go home. So, when you're going to give him your well wishes and send him off, you've got to be precise in the wording that you use. Okay? Now, when you want to send somebody to go off in peace, so we're going to use the word shalom. Shalom means peace.
I remember this.
Now, the Hebrew, the word for go is lech. So you're going to tell him go, and you're going to say now in peace. Now, either you're going to say go, in English probably would say in peace. Here comes the Gemara and says, no, don't say go in peace. Lech bishalem. Don't say it with a base, you should go in peace. Rather, you should say lech lishalem. Go to peace. Why? So first I'm going to tell you the reason that it says over here, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So the reason it says over here why you should say go to peace and not to say go in peace, because we're going to have 2 times in the Torah where we see someone gave his well wishes to someone else. One time it ended off disastrous, and one time it ended off successful. So we want to follow the one that was successful. So he says as follows. Yisro, Moshe told him, he told Moshe when this is going back to Midian. This is before the Exodus. Moshe, just to get a little background, Moshe grew up in Egypt. At a certain point, and he grew up actually in the king's palace. It's a story for itself. And comes the day, and he goes out to see the Jewish people, and he sees the Egyptians causing them pain, and he smites one, he causes one to die, and the next day people snitch on him, and now he's being tried in King Pharaoh's court, and he escapes. He runs away to Midian, a nearby country. Midian. And now he's there, and over there he finds his wife, he gets married, Tzipporah, right? And Yisro becomes his father-in-law. And one of the things he promised Yisro was that I'm not going to leave you unless I get permission from you. I'm here to stay, he told her. This was before Moshe knew anything about him being the future redeemer, right? So he promised Yisro, I'm staying here, I'll stay here. Now, what happens is, sure enough, the time comes for the Jewish people to be redeemed. We have the famous story of Moshe and the burning bush. One of his sheep runs away. He goes there. He sees the bush burning. God reveals himself to Moshe for the first time, and he tells him, I'm God, and I'm sending you. You are my chosen one to take the Jews out of Egypt. He doesn't want to take the job. He's back and forth for 7 days. Finally, he agrees he's doing the job. He goes to his father-in-law, Yisro, and he says, I need to go. I have a mission. I'm going now to Egypt to let the Jews free.
I got a commission.
And he's like, no, you can't go. Back and forth. Then he tells him, Lech l'shalom. Go to peace. And sure enough, Moshe went and was massively successful, right? So
how could he not be successful?
We'll talk about that in a second. But the wording that he used was Lech l'shalom, go to peace, and it worked out fine for whatever reason, even if there was a good reason for that.
Were they in Midian? Where were they when
yeah,
they
Midian.
told them?
Yeah.
Which also we had to destroy. No, didn't Bnei Yisrael have to destroy?
Later on. Now, another place where we see someone giving well wishes to someone else happens many years later. This is the story of David. David is king, right? We have over here David. So King David is the king, and his son, Avshalom, is planning a rebellion. Absalom, yes, is planning a rebellion against his very own.
Don't put that there.
Put it over there. Planning a rebellion against his own father. Shema, turn off the fire.
Isn't it a bit early to take it out?
What?
It's a bit early to take it out.
He's going to be talking faster.
Yeah, so you can
Absalom has brothers.
Right, okay.
Who is Absalom? Doesn't he have a brother or anything? Absalom.
He had many brothers, but Absalom decided to take over the kingdom by force. He's going to
Killed them all, right?
He planned a whole revolution against his own father. He devised a plan where he got his father on board without his father knowing what he's up to, and he got his father basically to get. It's a whole story. Should I go? You guys want to hear the story? Basically, I'll tell you in short.
Sub-Zero?
He gives a sob story to his father. He says, "Listen, no one likes me. I need more attention. Please, could you appoint two rabbis, two great scholars, elders, to come join me? I'm going to go to Hebron, and I'm going to bring some sacrifices over there." First, he invited David to come, his father to come. He knew his father was going to say no. So he said, "Oh, maybe come, please. No, okay. Maybe the family." And basically, he gets a note from his father that he could bring two scholars should come along with him. And then he uses this note and he shows it to all of them. And that's how he gets a huge following.
I got a note from my father.
And then he got a huge following of people to join him.
The king is a
And then that's where they anointed him to be king during David's lifetime. This was David was still alive, and he finds out that his son anointed
Can't
himself.
anoint him when he's dead.
And he actually started a war against his father. When David sent Avshalom off to Hebron, when he didn't know what he was up to, he told him those words, Lech b'shalom, go in peace. And later on, what happened, Avshalom's rebellion failed, and Avshalom ended up being hung and died.
His hair got hanged on a
Right. So when you say Lech b'shalom, when you go in peace, it ended up with a failure.
Yeah. Rabbi, David's other son also rebelled, right?
Yeah. But that was squashed. It was squashed faster.
Yeah.
What was that son's name?
Adoniyahu. Okay, so from these two stories we see that when you have to say goodbye to somebody, you should better use the word leich lishalem, not leich bishalem. The commentaries discuss, does this have to do with the grammar? Or is it just like something we don't
And
understand?
don't you think going in peace, like
So
your
some
whole journey
commentaries-
is in peace, as opposed to going to the peace?
Okay, so that's a good. So I'm going to explain to you what the commentaries explain. That it has to do with the wording. When you say go in peace, that means the peace is on the way. Not necessarily when you get to where you have to get to, and you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish, is that going to be in peace? Because leich bishalem means your going was in peace, not necessarily where you get to.
What about
On the other hand, when you say go to peace, so now the peace, the shalom, is where your destination is. So whatever you're going to
To
want
reach
to
peace,
do,
you automatically have to survive.
that right away comes the question, but what about on the way? How are you going to get there? So if you're going to get there in peace, you must have, if you said when you're going to, your destination is going to be peaceful, it means you're going to have to get there eventually, right?
You'll survive.
So you'll
Sure.
survive. So that shows you that the whole time will end up being in peace.
Wouldn't it be even better
That's
to say
why
go
they-
to peace
What
and
about-
go in peace?
To say both.
Dovber, what about go with peace?
Go with peace. Okay. Anyways, the a lot of commentators say that this is not. It's not like. It's basically, since we see a story where it happened, a positive thing came out this way and a negative thing happened this way, that already sets it that this is the wording that should be used.
So we're in pieces.
Yeah, and we're going to see soon that when a person is, God forbid, about on his deathbed, and you want to wish him he's
Recovery?
not a recovery, no.
Rewrite the will?
Journal.
when he's on his way out.
Well, it's one or the other.
When he's on his way out, then you
In
should
or
say.
out? Back
Then you
out.
should say leich bishalem.
They're going to say
Rest in peace.
peace upon you.
Or rest in peace. Peace.
No. Peace upon you, not rest in peace. Don't come back is more appropriate.
If you fall on a meat shredder, then rest in pieces.
Okay. Amar Rav Avin Alevi. Okay, that nifter min hameis, someone's on his deathbed. So then you should say leich bishalem. Because it's a verse that says, "V'ata tavi al aveisecha bishalem." You will be join your forefathers. You will basically pass away, and the verse says bishalem. So the in peace is when someone's passing away.
This becomes very interesting because we have 124 fathers. A generation is 20, Abraham is...
Right. Well, just generally, we say there's three main ones, and
you do 3 generations. You do your
no,
father,
I meant in general forefather. I didn't, not
It's
specific.
Abraham, Jacob, and
Isaac are the
Yeah,
forefather.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
so we shall be meeting them.
But they're the main forefathers. And then there's also, I think David is one of them, and there's like.
I'm going to be very busy.
Okay, let's move on. Amar Rabbi Levi Bar Chia. Rabbi Levi, the son of Chia, says, "Hayoytze mebeis hakneses, v'nichnas labeis hamedrash, va'isek b'Torah." Someone that leaves the shul in the morning, and he goes straight from there, straight to the base medrash, straight to the study hall. Zoichel mekabel pnei Shechina will merit to be mekabel to greet the Shechina, God's glory. Shnemar, as it says in the verse, Yeichel mechayel echoyel yera elikim betzion. You go from one chayel el chayel. You're going from one strength to another strength, and you will see God in Zion. So when you're going straight from one strength, referring to davening, prayer, and you go straight to learn, so then you will merit to see God in Zion.
It doesn't also mean soldier, Chayil?
Yeah, but here it means like...
Here it means
more-
strength.
yeah, strength. Amar Rav Chia bar Ashi, Amar Rav. Rav Chia said in the name of Rav. Talmid Chachamim, scholars, Ein lehem menucha. They don't have any rest. Loi be'olam hazeh, v'loi be'olam haba. They don't have any rest, not in this world, because of the constant Torah study they have, and not even in the world to... Well, here it doesn't say even. There's a version in Moed Katan that has the same saying. Over there it says, even in the world to come, they don't have rest. And it says in the same verse that we mentioned before, when you go from strength to strength, you keep on going higher and higher and higher. So even in the world to come, there's no menucha, there's no resting.
But it's hitbonenut you're talking about, that you're going up? Or it's not hitbonenut?
The Marsha asks a very big question on this. Everyone knows that the world to come is the world of reward, and that's when you get your reward for your work. So now you're saying that you have no rest in the world to come? What did everyone say? We just spoke about before. What do you say when someone passed away?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. That's menucha. Yeah, the whole idea of world to come is that you're finished working. It's game over, and now you get to enjoy. What did we say over here? Scholars don't have any rest. So there's different commentaries have different answers. That doesn't refer to. There are certain scholars that they continue going higher, even in the world to come. Not everyone. The Rebbe came with a revolutionary answer, very simple answer. The Rebbe says, bringing it from a different sefer, quoting from a different sefer, that explains it a little bit differently, but from there it comes a very simple answer. Very obvious answer. There's two stages in the world to come. There's the world to come that's commonly referred to in today's lingo, Gan Eden. We spoke about it in the class on Tuesday. That is the world to come when a person passes away. And then we have the world to come, which is also known as the time of Mashiach, the time of Tchias HaMeis. In that first world to come, which is Gan Eden, it's not rest, but there's constant going up. A person, all the Torah study that he had, or any merits that he had throughout his lifetime, in the world to come, he is going in it deeper and deeper and deeper. Why? Because God's Torah is infinite, and just like you could study more and more and more in this world, when you come to the world to come, and now you're studying the secrets of Torah, and you're getting deeper and deeper and closer to God's understanding, there's no limit. You can keep on going.
Is that the ascension of the tree of life in Kabbalah, where you're reaching the Ein Sof?
That's
you
right.
From
So you can't. The one thing is what he says is not incorrect. Is reaching it? So you can't reach it.
You can't reach it.
Because Ein Sof means
But
no
you
limit.
approach it.
Approach, exactly. So even in the world to come, you're going to be approaching Ein Sof more and more, and that's what means they have no rest. However, there is going to come a time after the coming of Mashiach when that's considered game over. Then we're going to have rest, and we're going to just bask. How you say B-A-S-K? How you pronounce it?
Bask.
Bath, yeah.
Bask. We're just going to bask in God's glory.
QUE.
Even then, this commentators say there's going to be some type of game plan. There's going to have to be some type of a mission in the world. We don't know. I couldn't find yet any clear answer to this question. What is going to be the game plan after Mashiach comes? There's going to be. It's going to have to be some type of service of Hashem. Everything has to have a goal. We're here for a reason. We're doing something, right? You have to accomplish something. So what is going to be the accomplishments when Mashiach comes? I haven't yet found an answer. If anyone ever heard
Party
of it.
service followed by Chabad Flatbush.
I know, but then the Farbrengen is going to be. What are we going to talk about by Farbrengen?
No, it's after the Sephardi service.
So by the Farbrengen, we talk about how to become better. Once Mashiach comes, what are we going to talk about by the Farbrengen? What are we going to demand from ourselves? No, we got to do more chitas, more ramba, more. What are we going to?
More children.
More children. Okay. After saying this verse, we move on. We're getting closer to the end. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina. This happens to be a very famous part of.
Also the last part.
This last part of the tractate is actually we say in our prayers every day. We say before the Aleinu prayer, right before the end of the.
Rabbi
we
Chania
finish.
ben Akashel, man.
No.
Oh.
That we
English.
We say it as follows. We have it in the Siddur. We say, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Lazar said the name. Rabbi Lazar said the name of Rabbi Chanina. Talmidei Chachamim, scholars, Marbim Shalom Ba'olam. They bring much peace to the world. Remember, like it says, Chol Banaich Limudi Hashem, V'Rav Shalom Banaich. Al Tikar Banaich Ela Banaich. It says that those are Limudi Hashem. Those are studying from God. V'Rav Shalom Banaich. They bring lots of peace. So the word Banaich, which means the sons, referring to the scholars. Also, we have a type of learning in the Gemara. It says, don't read it like this, but rather say it like this. So it can mean Bainoich. Bainoich means builders. The scholars are like builders. In what way is a scholar a builder?
You're the foundation.
We're building up the world. The scholars that learn Torah, they are the foundations of the world, and they are building up the world. And they are building the world with peace. Where do we see practically how the scholars bring peace? Because if you go the ways of Torah, you have a peaceful life between man and his friend. Any arguments, if you go to a scholar, he helps you settle all disputes. If you have between a man and his wife, all the rules of the Torah, and you're taught by a scholar, they guide you how to have a peaceful life, a peaceful marriage, and also between peace and the Jew between the Jew and the Creator. When we keep the Torah, we are on a peaceful relationship between us and God. So scholars are all about bringing peace.
If we have all these scholars solving problems, then why are all these therapists and psychiatrists coming, from the tribe of Jews?
It's actually the truth of the matter is that if scholars would have been doing their jobs properly, there'd be no need for therapists. If everyone would be following the ways of Torah perfectly, there'd be no need for a therapist because there would be peace in the world. Therapists are coming to solve problems. These problems, they come from lack of following the Torah properly, and sometimes lack of keeping the Torah properly comes from lack of knowledge.
Because
So the reason why we're not keeping the Torah properly is not because we're bad people, is we don't know better, because we weren't taught better. So it's a cycle. But technically, if the scholars would have been doing their job properly, then there would have been no
Dovber, in the
It's good to know.
Yeah, in the outside world, outside of Jewish communities, when people see problems or someone's crazy or there's a problem with the person, people are find God. Exactly for that reason.
Yes, because that is basically God made us, and He gave us with a manual. He gave us with an instruction book how to run man, right? Windows for Dummies. God gave us a book, and He told us how to run this computer called human being, and how we should which type of software we should use, and what viruses we shouldn't get, and we have a manual, right? It's called the Torah. And some people, they're like, I know, I'll figure it out by myself, right? Take the manual, throw it, whatever do you get a machine, take the manual and chuck it, and throw it out. And I actually once told my class an interesting mushal, parable, about a manual. There's this guy, I think it's a very powerful lesson. This guy, he was a musician. He loved music. So he went ahead and he got himself the most fanciest couple $1,000 piano. Keyboard. That has all the features, everything. And?
But you can't play piano on it.
So he gets the most expensive keyboard, and he, like most people, who has the patience to read a manual? He chucks the manual, I'll figure it out myself. And he starts playing piano, and he's doing very nice. It's a very good piano. And he figured out a lot of the features, and he's having a good time. But he's missing, since he's a good musician, he feels like I'm missing the surround sound, and I'm missing this. And then he starts buying a speaker that give him that sound from that. He puts in a speaker system over there. And then he's missing some type of beats, so he buys a special beat machine. And he's still not the way, so he's buying this, I'm buying that. And then after buying so much new equipment, he's frustrated. He's still not getting it. And he's like, okay, I'm getting rid of this machine. And one day a friend comes over to him and says, what's wrong with your machine? What's all this equipment I see over here? He's like, I wanted the beats. Oh, you wanted beats? You press this button over here. And I wanted surround sound. Your speakers, $10,000. It comes with speakers all around your piano. You got to just put on those speakers and the surround. How do you put it on? Oh, you press over here. You press these few buttons over here, and you get the surround. And he ended up investing so much money in other equipment that everything was already built into his fancy keyboard that he bought, the most expensive keyboard, and had all those features in there. And he wasn't receiving his gratitude that he wanted. He wasn't feeling accomplished from his piano just because he never learned his piano. He chucked the manual. Now our human body is so much more powerful than a $10,000 keyboard. And we let it go to waste by not tapping into our potential that we have inside of us because we chucked the manual. The manual is the Torah. And it was made by the one that created us. Our Creator created a manual, and it has all the details, how to tap into all the features that we have inside of us. By trying to figure it out by our own, we might get so far, but we're not maximizing our potential. When you have this Torah study, then you have real peace. That's real peace. Okay. And now the tractate ends off with 3 verses. Okay, Leman achai vereoi adaber na shalim bach. These are 3 verses that have the word shalom in it, peace. The first one talks about my brotherhood. I'm just going to use the English to translate these verses. The first verse, Leman achai vereoi, for my colleagues and my brethren.
And Varai are the people that see me. What's the last word?
For the sake of my brothers and comrades. Adaber na shalim bach. I will pronounce peace upon you. This is a verse about Jerusalem. Getting back to Jerusalem. So we say, I'm going to pronounce peace upon you. The next verse. Leman beis Hashem Elokeinu avaksha tov lach. For the sake of the house of Hashem, I will request good for you. And the third one is Hashem oz la'amo yutein. Hashem yivarech es amo yivashalim. Hashem will give might to his nation. Hashem will bless his nation with peace. What's interesting about these 3 verses is the first one says, a person might say to himself, what do I need to have peace in the world for? I'll sit at home, have a good life by myself, and I won't get to annoying fights with anybody. Right?
Good plan.
Good plan. If I don't see anybody in my world, I'll have peace. Right? It says the verse, no. Leman achai vereoi. For the sake of my brothers and comrades, I will pronounce. You need to have, in order to have true peace, you need to have other people in your life. You need to be able to help other people, and then other people need to be able to help you. You can't live a life all by yourself. And a person says, and for what purpose do I need to have this peace for? Leman beis Hashem. We want to have the holy temple. In order for God to feel comfortable in this world, we need to have the holy temple rebuilt. What caused the destruction of the temple?
Which one?
The second one.
Sinas
Sinas chinam, baseless hate. That was the cause for the destruction of the temple. So, if we want to get the man beis Hashem, if we want to get the Beis Hamikdash back, we need to fix the cause for the destruction. If the destruction was because of hatred,
Why would there be baseless hatred? Just like that.
Why, Rabbi? Why? Why is there baseless hatred?
Ask God.
What
It's
happened?
because of money?
Because
Why is it
my
well,
because of
sometimes because of money, because of honor,
There you
difference of
go.
opinion.
Which one?
No, but that's already not
Does it
senseless.
matter?
I have
That's
several.
already for a sense.
Pick one.
Okay.
Senseless literally means without
Yeah,
reason.
you're right. No one's gonna say that I hate you for nothing. You're always gonna blame it on something. But at the end of the day, that's not the reason that you hate it.
But Rabbi, everybody hates the Jews, you know. Even
And
the
I
Jews
don't.
hate the Jews.
It's baseless, hey? There's no
Jealousy.
reason. They'll give you reasons because you control the media and you control the banks.
I wish.
They'll come, they'll come up with reasons, but it's really baseless.
Listen, I would love to control the bank. Would you love to control the bank?
So this is called Chinat Sinai?
Yes, Sinas Chinam. So the way to fix and bring back the temple is by having Avas Chinam. Avas Chinam is loving another person just because he's a Jew, and not love him just because of that.
That's a very, very hard thing
It's hard.
to do.
That's the hardest thing to do.
Yes. Loving someone just because of he's a Jew is a very hard thing. And that's what the Baal Shem Tov, by the way, we're celebrating today, the Alter Rebbe, which took the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov and spread it out. And the foundation of Chabad Lubavitch is based off this premise of baseless love. That's what Chabad Lubavitch, the foundation.
Chachma Bina and Das?
No, what the Alter Rebbe is, and the starting from the Baal Shem Tov, but the idea is based off Avos Yisrael. Yeah, loving Hashem and loving a fellow Jew are very much strong.
So what about the rest of the population that aren't Jewish?
We'll start with the Jewish people, and then we'll try.
Yeah, we gotta start
We have
with
to be
the
nice to
Jews
everybody.
because that's the problem. The biggest problem.
And the last verse, Hashem oiz la mi'itin, Hashem yivarach es ha'mashalim. Hashem will bless His nation with peace. This last verse, Hashem will bless His nation with peace. It's such a powerful lesson.
Doesn't mean power, Oz, doesn't mean strength.
Yeah. So here it says that God could not find in the world a proper vessel for blessing, other than
Wait, didn't this guy have milk?
Yeah, 40 minutes.
Oh, okay, it's okay then.
Rinse your
40
mouth.
minutes ago.
Rinse your mouth. Rinse your mouth.
I did.
Travis, it's okay?
I was told
I
you
don't know,
can't
it
have
doesn't make
meat
sense
and
to
milk
me.
for 6 hours.
No.
That's only meat after milk.
After meat,
Yeah.
after meat, you wait 6 hours.
After milk,
After
you
milk, some people wait an hour.
I guess he's
Some
extra
people
I
wait
was
half
told
an
6
hour.
hours.
No.
Yeah.
Hard cheese. Certain hard cheeses you have to wait 6 hours.
Is this new?
No, certain hard cheese like Parmesan cheese you have to wait 6 hours.
It's going to take longer to digest hard
Yeah.
cheese.
Anyways, let me just talk about this last. We'll finish with this. It says God could not find a proper vessel for peace, for blessing, besides nothing other than peace. So one of the commentators explained this to mean that the 613 mitzvahs, right? From those, there's 248 positive commandments, positive, right? And 365 negative. And that is compared to a human body. And a person does 248 limbs, Ivarim, and then there's 365 veins and sinews or whatever that is. So it's a person, a body of a human being is represented by all the mitzvot. And the way it's brought down in Kabbalah, and the way it's explaining why we're here in this world for, is we have to fix this big body of all the. Every time we do a mitzvah, we correct and we fix one part of this body.
Macrocosm.
Yeah. Now the question is, some of the mitzvot are not applicable to all Jewish people. Some mitzvot are only for kings. Some mitzvot are only for kohanim, for priests. Some of them are only in Israel. Some of them are only time of the temple. So how could I finish all 613 mitzvot? And the answer is we're in this together. We're unified, and together we accomplish all 613. But that only works if we are together.
Cooperating
Together, and we have peace. So this is what it means. God only found the only proper vessel for peace is the only vessel for blessing is peace, because through peace we complete the whole Torah, and that brings all of God's blessings. And with this we conclude. We're completing the first tractate of brachas in the Ein Yaakov class. And Mazel Tov, it's a very special occasion that we're finishing.
See you next
And
week.
we should finish. See him today, right now.
No, this is for you just Kislev.
No, it's for
Yeah.
for both. We like to double up.
You can't double up.
It's both ends.
Okay.
I get it, we're Jewish, we have to save our money, but
Okay, thank you for coming.
Do you? Okay.